Hello, Rosebuds. I'm gonna say this is an add-on, or could be a continuation of part of my topic yesterday, which was my thoughts and observations of life experiences. And as reflecting on, what I was expressing yesterday, and also had a chance to reflect on a few other people's triumphs, uh, which bring me back to my subject. Pretty much yesterday, just growing up in life, as a child, and really thinking that, everything is roses, innocent, and having not a clue what lies ahead of you when you begin to journey into your life experiences. And it's sad to say, and as I think of it, the disappointments you find out after growing up from that childhood mindset that everything is roses and what you see is what it is. As you journey on to life, you realize, everything you see ain't always what it is. And life isn't a bed of roses, but if you look at it with clear eyes from the divine perspective, you will realize that though life isn't roses, with the right guidance and the highest presence of existence, it can be roses if you are able to look at the patterns that life presented to you and the choices you made, the patterns within them, and the things that you actually learned through the triumphs, the bumps, the bruises, the heartache, the pain, the wails, the cries, all that you were able to gather after really, really walking through the darkness, looking at every step, even though, it, you know, really causes your heart to bleed out, having to, walk through that darkness, having to really take deep looks at, what has transpired in your life, why, and what was learned from those lessons. But it's just funny how, life, takes us through, all the little corners and turns and twists to bring us to really a beautiful, beautiful rose when we finally really see it for what it truly is. I just look at, the things that I had to encounter as a youth, and even into adulthood, the sibling rivalries, the feeling like, you the black sheep of the family, you know, the um deceptions, the manipulations, all the things that you might have had to encounter. Some because of maybe the choices you made, some because you had to really go through them to learn different lessons in life, And as I look at, the twists and turns I have taken in my life courses, and I think about the type of person that I know I was in my very early ages, I would say before the tainting of life existing came about. Just really just loving life, loving people, wanting to give people, everybody the benefit of the doubt, trust, everybody, try to do good to everybody, which is really the proper thing to do. But when you're growing up in a world that is conducive, I would say, to the opposite of that, that's when it becomes a real problem. Because now you're, being who you were taught to be and what you were taught to be, but you're not in the midst of the people that are able and willing to reciprocate that type of love, that type of action, that type of relationship and interaction. So it becomes taken for granted. And just imagine, and I hear this for so many people that has faced trauma, being that innocent soul and, really facing the first traumas, of your life, whether it's abandonment, whether it's, being essayed, whether it's being the HT word, uh, manipulated, physically abused, whatever those traumas may have been before those traumas. You were an innocent soul. You pretty much was, I would say, fresh from God's light, ready to address the world with truth, honesty, and love. But though you might be brought into the world through all that, when you're actually brought into it, you're subjected to everything. And I just had the thought of it's like coming and being born into the wilderness. You got all kinds of animals, you got all kinds of critters, all kinds of things you're subject to and that is subject to you. And you're let out into the wilderness with really no roadmap. Some of us, do get a little roadmap, from the family we're born into, they try to put the morals and stuff in us. But, when we get out into that wilderness, we got everybody trying to put stuff in us. And so it becomes what might attract you from really what you feel lacking of. And as I say that, it makes me go to my first, I would say, encounter into the wilderness, at the age of 15, trying to run from things I was encountering in the home. that really, I mean, it was very, very serious. I felt like, civil rivalry, and you feel like it was coming from every which way but loose, And then you feeling like you got to protect yourself. You starting to get in survival mode and stuff like, man, wait a minute now. I know this family, but shit, you know, I got to protect myself. But so to say, start with that, I would say that was my journey into the wilderness, because I was taught to love my siblings, protect them and them protect me, and all kinds of stuff. And I'm not blaming them at in my adult years, because I understand they were children and they didn't really realize what they were inflicting on me. And then my parents, they had so much going on, they were there and they, tried to do their best to keep up and know what's going on, but can't watch everything, especially when you got a lot of traumas going on yourself. So, my thing was how to escape the situation without it being terrible. And I'm looking looked at as the little devil, I would say. I'm just gonna be real about it. But in the household, so expressing it to somebody that I really didn't know I knew through other folks that, was acting like, that person was the savior pretty much. And they really felt he was too. They had not a much clue other than what I had, from hearing from people you loved and trust, and you knew they wasn't gonna do nothing to hurt you or, put you in harm's way. So you fell for it, but they didn't know themselves that they were putting you in the harm's way and themselves as well. But long story short, it landed me in the hands of somebody at the time that I thought was a safe place to be. At the age of 15 and a half, that acted like they had my well being at heart, asking, what I enjoyed doing, what were my interests, and, telling me what I would be good at. And so I'm like, wow, this person sound like they care about somebody a little bit, I'm just, God is just leading me. I got to tell the story, so and let my voice be heard. And I know I've been holding it back for a long time, so we gonna walk through the darkness so we can smell the beautiful roses. Yes. And this might end up being a series, but anyway, I end up falling into an organization that was told to be spiritual and religious. And I learned a lot of things, spiritually, mentally, and I would say physically as well, that I felt at that time helped my growth, and it did, But at the same time, I didn't realize the dark side of it and what was transpiring. So that took me into a journey of, I would say, occultism without knowing that I was in it until after I was out of it and started digesting and looking at the situation. And, that situation not only affected me, it affected my children, it affected my grandchildren. Um, it affected my being and their being, because the traumas that was inflicted on me. Some of them, fell on my children. And it's not a good feeling. You can take it when it's, inflicted on you. Um, but when it's inflicted on your child, you feel responsible in a lot of ways you are, because you made those choices and those choices affected them. Even, at, maybe if you're at a young age or, whatever experiences put you there, it still affected them. So they know, I've always told them, please forgive me for it. But I guess when you're young, you think you know and you don't know. You run into things like that. But at the same time, I've learned a lot from it. It made me the person I am. It made them the person they are. Though, there's some pains and some hurts. At the same time, we're grateful for the experience as well because we learned so much and we gained a lot from it. We gained extended families that we wouldn't had that would really care for each other, and still today we'll look out for each other if we can. So that is the blessing in it, and they have gained siblings that they wouldn't have had. So, they're grateful for that. But at the same time, there are some wounds there, I'm gonna say. But I thank God that, I was able to see when it was time for me to, get out. I guess a part of me, say I should have got out sooner, but if it was time for me to get out sooner, I would. It was a lot, like I said, that I learned that helped me throughout life. Um, Even though there is a lot that stunted my growth um throughout life as well. But like I said, unknowingly now that, I have been through a lot of traumas and stuff, and when you go through a lot of traumas, it make you start, looking at, what you've been through, looking at, your life and trying to figure out, why and you had to go through that, what was the benefit from it and all that. But what I see in it is, those traumas, those things that I went through helped me to understand other people that may have went through different traumas and helped me understand how you can't judge someone, especially if you haven't walked in their shoes. And then even if you have, everybody is different. Everybody reacts to things differently. So you still can't judge unless you are in that person's shoes and going through what they're going through. But it just bothers me that, even in those type of scenarios, because I've listened to people saying, how they was trafficked or, was out there, in the street with no choice in the matter, things happening at home or whatever, and ran into the wrong people and beat to death and, all kinds of stuff. And I thank God that, I didn't have that experience, physical harm. But though I had a lot of happy times, there was at that time now I realized some abusive behaviors that were being inflicted mentally and spiritually for control purposes. So I'm grateful that, God brought me out of that type of situation. And I realized because of that situation, when I ran into situations like that or seemed close to that, and I started detecting those type of energies and traits and stuff, I would back away from it. And what I'm realizing, a lot of it caused me to spend a lot of time alone to myself, just digesting things and wishing the world was different. Um, Wanting to be a better person than some of what was inflicted on me. And treat people the way I would want to be treated. That's how I was taught coming up, heard that often coming up, and coming up, on Prince Street. A lot of people say that was a rough place, but I learned many lessons there, and there it was like the village raised the children, though we had mothers and parents that looked out for us and cared for us and didn't play. Anytime we was outside, we had mothers and parents out there that, did the same thing and will tear our butts up and let the mom know, and then the mom gonna tear you up too for them having to tear you up. So it was like we knew we wasn't getting away with any old thing. And then your brothers was almost like your fathers, so they ain't trying to have you doing nothing you ain't had no business doing. So it was like we got it every which way but loose. A village raised us, I would say, on Prince Street, even though they say Prince Street was rough, but we had to be rough, and I didn't realize, even in that situation, that was a form of oppression. It was a project. When I looked it up and I read the history and why they put it there, those tall projects, and then they had some smaller projects called Hyde Park Gardens in different places around there, and it was a bunch of stores and stuff. But the stores, uh, the people that owned the stores and stuff was the people that lived in Hyde Park Gardens in the lower rise apartments, the beautified apartments. And we lived in what we thought was beautified, but what they called the cold water flats, 12 stories high. Everybody piled up on each other. Everything going on, then they, pushing drugs around there and all kinds of stuff. So kids getting strung out at very young ages, 10, 11. I mean, very young. Just getting strung out on some serious stuff. And this was an experiment, and they put the stores there so they can make our money. We spending our money in their stores, and they go back to their little nice little low rise apartments, living happy while we in slums, pissy hallways, and all kind of stuff. Elevator ain't have work, incinerator stopped up. I mean, I can go on, but anyhow, this is what I come from. Not to mention, being a part of, the civil rights movement, coming up, the rent strikes, we was children. We was the children helping pass out the flyers for the rent strike with Mr. Toby. So it was funny that I was able to pull up this history, and I'm seeing Mr. Toby and my godmother, Miss Lula, in that history, the rent strike and the riots and stuff and on Prince Street during that time. I came up in that era. So I know what racism looked like firsthand. I know what injustice looked like firsthand. I was born into this type of stuff. not even really realizing. I'm thinking this is life. This how it's supposed to live, you know. So I would say that my escape from that environment, saves me somewhat, by going into this organization, and then I'm learning about myself, and teaching me Islam, upliftment of self and all that stuff, but not understanding that the leaders of that organization had different agendas. Yeah, they were giving us something to uplift us and all that, but they had a saying, you feed the people and they'll feed you. They was giving us upliftment and stuff so we could be dedicated to whatever they told us to do. And this is what happened. We're youth. They giving us what we thinking we're lacking. I'm just saying, and not really knowing the hands we truly was in. So I look back at those years and those times, and I thank God for how He protected me, because could have been gone many times, many times. And believe me, if it wasn't for the grace of God protecting me now, many would be at my door. But I thank God and I thank Him that I know He got me, and I know that I'm not going nowhere until He ready for me to go. So I'm just going to try to live life the best I can and do what I can, I hope, to make a better world, or to ignite a better world, a better way of thinking. People that want to treat people as humans and not try to take advantage of another human being and then try to make them look like they the crazy person or something wrong with them because they're speaking out, standing up for themselves. But I just felt like I had to put this on record, I guess I would say, because, like I said, I deal with so much, and you know, to know that a lot of what you deal with comes from people in high places who kind of got the power to do whatever they want in this life, I would say. But I have to always keep in mind that God, there's a higher power, a higher energy above that that is able to protect. And until they say it's time, you, you ain't got nothing to worry about, really. So, God said, let my voice be heard. I'm letting my voice be heard. And I'm hoping I'm helping somebody else to understand and know that you have a voice, and we're supposed to have freedom of speech. And why should we fear to speak up and speak out about the injustice or wrongful encounters that we have to face, especially us in underprivileged areas. Um, it's time out. Everybody deserves to be treated like human beings. I don't care where you come from, who you are. We all deserve to be treated like human beings. We are brought on this earth as human beings, equal, and that's how it should be. How can you say you better than the person that brought you here? How can you call the people that brought you here dirt and trash and nobodies and not take that place as well? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Done heard plenty of people say how tired they is, and I am very tired of the deceitfulness and wickedness that goes on in this world, and continues to be covered up because people's lives are threatened. People got to fear, you know, telling the truth about what they truly experience here on this earth, in this country, land of the free and home of the brave. What's brave about somebody taking advantage of somebody that really can't defend themselves? Is that bravery or cowardice? I'm just saying. I mean, I just got to speak it. Like I said, I'm tired. I want to see this stuff, and I want to see us do better by each other. Learn how to love, learn how to do good, learn how to help our fellow brother or sister when we see them down, instead of kicking them in the behind and the face while they down. I'm just saying. I talk about the things that I had to experience, because like I said, I lived a shelter life, even in what was called the cult. We stayed amongst each other, and we had very good times, and then there were times we felt controlled, oppressed, and all that as well, with some of the things that was laid down as law, that type of thing. But I would say that prepared me for a lot of what I had to deal with after leaving there as well, because I had already started developing tough skin. When I look back as a child, I was very, very sensitive, but having to go through all of that type of stuff made me harder, I guess. And I remember reading in the Quran, it talks about your heart being hard. And at that time, I didn't really understand. I was reading it all the time, but I used to ask myself, what do they mean, your heart being hard? And I can't even imagine your heart being hard. Not knowing, even during that time, my heart was on its way there, being hardened from the hurt, from the oppression, the controlling spirits, the deceitfulness that went on sometimes, the manipulation. but then told that you don't supposed to feel no type of way about it because that's like being negative, you know. So there was a lot of, I would say, skullduggery being taught as well. But when I got into this world, I mean, really let loose free, I realized that that stuff was going on in the world, even worse, 10 times. So that exposure made me prepared to kind of deal with some of the stuff that was going on, even though shoot, it was breaking me. But I was just determined not to be broke, as Whitney Houston said. I was not meant to be broke. I ain't realize it at the time, but I thank God I'm seeing it now. Mm, But yeah. So when you go through stuff like that, and then on top of that, get out here and you dealing with people that is manipulative like that all the time, amongst there, the order was supposed to be righteousness, but you see that little deceitfulness and manipulation and every now and then. But you get out here in this world and you see that's all it's about. You like, well, dang, excuse me, but I'm just saying. So, I mean, I done seen some stuff, been through some stuff that don't supposed to be going on in the organizations that's supposed to be helping you, but doing stuff in the background to tear you down, to block you from certain things, to keep you suppressed. It exists. But then they feel like you could go tell it because then I could act like you crazy or you just disgruntled or whatever because they gonna believe the person in authority. They gonna believe the people in high places. I've even had lawyers tell me, I know you telling the truth, but when you get in court, they gonna believe them people in high place. They ain't gonna want to believe that these people would do stuff like that. And you just, somebody just mad and upset. I know you telling the truth, but this is what will be presented. So you telling me that we know this type of stuff go on and it's accepted in these places, these courthouses, these police stations, sheriff department. I'm just saying, it's a reality. It's going on. And people like me are being shut up if they possibly can do it. So people like me got to trust God, step out on faith, and know that God got you. And you have the right to be heard. You have a right to tell your story. You have a right to let folks know that this type of stuff go on and is covered up because it's sort of the order of our society. It's happening all around the world. So as we take a stand together in deceitfulness and manipulation and corruption, how many of us are willing to take that stand for righteous, for justice, for the love and whole of humanity, even with the price over our head. How many of us really ready to be the brave? Show what America's profess to be can be done equality for all. I'm just saying, because what we are displaying, this stuff goes down in history just like past history. And from what I have read in history, good God Almighty, it's been going on for a long, long time. We're going to take it back to the 14 and 1500s. And we're in 2024. And you mean to tell me not much have changed? The history is still being written the same? Folks being killed just for who they is, the color of their skin, or just for speaking the truth, what they're enduring? Or is we going to start writing history that the people stood up for what was right, that people said no more? Will we stand by and allow this type of stuff to continue to go on in this world? Innocent people being hurt, babies being hurt, women, children, even men being hurt because of somebody else's greed or somebody else's sickness. When we gonna bring it to an end? When we gonna start saying, no, we not allowing this no more? It's over, it's done. You're not gonna continue to do this. When we gonna put people in them courthouses that's gonna stand strong and firm and saying, no, I can't be bought. Right is right and wrong is wrong. When we gonna put people in these police departments that says, I don't care what color they is, I'm gonna protect them under oath, like I stood up and took it? When are we gonna stop trying to push people from their home that they chose to live in? Push them out because we don't want them in our neighborhood because of the color of their skin, or because we don't feel like they should own whatever they own because of the color of their skin. I'm just saying, it's ridiculous. Really listen to it. But it's happening. Children being taken from their parents, and some of them might be taken for a good reason, but you putting them in places that doing worse than the parents did. They're going through worse than they went through at their home. Even making up stories, taking kids that shouldn't even be in the system. Got people that love them and willing to take care of them, but you gonna make up stories to take them for your selfish gain, for money. greed. I'm just saying, really listen to this stuff because it's real. It's happening every day. Innocent people suffering of from the hands of people that want to be wicked and evil, deceitful, devilish. I mean, it's coming to me. I'm putting it out there. I mean, it's time for it to stop. And then the sad thing is that the people that want to do the wicked and evil, bold when they're doing it, but let them get caught or somebody bring it up. Why is they quick to try to make up a lie to cover up what they done did? But bold as heck when they doing it because they think it ain't gonna get out. But if you that bold to do it, why be a coward when you faced with it? I'm just saying, we as a people contradict ourselves every single day when we do these type of things. Because we trying to act big and bad against the person we trying to oppress. But then when the heat come to us, when it's brought out in the light, then oh no, I ain't do that. They was doing this and that and the other. Then the story all of a sudden changed. You ain't that bold no more. Now you fearing trying to figure out how the heck you gonna get out of it, so you gonna make up all kinds of lies and stories. Come on now, what kind of people are? What is we writing? Because we writing history every day we live, every day we breathe. What we do is our history. I like to say from being at so many funerals, living so many people, losing so many people dear to me. But as I watch their funeral and what's being said of them and what's not being said, I came to realize that we don't realize we write our own obituary. We write our own funeral from what we do while we're living. So I'm here to say, while all of us got a chance, while all of us still breathing and have a chance to make a change in this world for the better, let's take advantage of it. Don't wait and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. Let's do it now. And that goes for me too. Whatever it is that I can do to make this world better, I ask God to help me with every bone in my body to do it. Put away all the fears, all the doubts, all the darts and people coming at me trying to stop me from being who God say you is, not what people say you is. But I'm taking that challenge to try to fight through all this stuff, all the people coming at it, all the people trying to do whatever they trying to do to slow me down, to shut me up, pushing against that, to do whatever I can do to make this world a better place. Because what we have displayed as a human race in these last thousands of years is a disgrace to the human race. If this is what the human race is about, I'm sure God is saying we don't need no human race, for real. Because we is tearing each other down, killing each other by the day, by the minute, by the hour, by the second, gradually, through all of the garbage we inflict on each other. So, I'm just saying, because I thank God that I pushed through. And it wasn't easy because I was ready to go at the devil with all I had because of how he was coming at me. And when I say the devil, I don't mean no person with a red, red and with a pitchfork. I'm talking about within us as people. We got both sides. And we make the choice what we going to bring out. But I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing the wickedness. I don't even want to be a part of it. At one time, I'm ready to go ahead with them. You want a part of me? Here I go. But I know that's what the devil wants. He wants a chance and an opportunity to have an excuse to take you down. And when we fall victim to the stuff they put out as bait for us, that's what happened. So I truly understand what is meant, though they meant it, I believe, for our detriment, but what is meant to turn the other cheek. Sometimes you got to do that. Not because you scared, not because you're a punk, but because you know that that demon in that person or person want you to bring that side of you out so they can say that you just like them. And it's a funny thing because the organization I just was talking about, I was a part of, actually wrote a book. And in that book, was the plot to show that you just as much as devil as they is if somebody pull it out of you. If somebody takes something away from you that you truly love, you can go to that extreme that it don't take them much to go to. But you got to be pushed to that point. But that is their way of trying to prove that you can be just as much devil as they is. And we got to fight that. No matter how hard it is, that's when we got to put that ego in check and say, you know what, forget that. Because I see the bait. And let me just stand down. They can think I'm a punk. They can think whatever they want to think. But what they don't understand is I serve God. I fear God. And I'm not trying to have his wrath on me. I'm just saying I must have needed to get this out, but I thank God for letting me get it out. But I mean, we as a people, we as a human race, we must rethink the way we live. We will bring about our own destruction. Karma is truly real. And it's being played out so quick nowadays, we all should be shaking in our boots. But, I just had to get that off my chest because I know I'm tired. I done heard a few other people say how tired they is. So if we truly tired, let us do whatever we can to try to bring about an evolution in this place we call Earth, our home, and the people that we connect to daily, called the human race. Understanding that we all are important. We all got a job to do. Ain't nobody better than nobody. We were created from the same source, but we know who were the dominant source. And as the saying goes, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. It's happening. So we better watch what we do and say. Yes, but I'm done. I'm not here to preach or nothing like that, but I had to get some things off my chest because I'm so tired. Tired of having to fight for something that is yours because somebody else think they got the right to do what they want and have what they want when they want it because who they think and say they is. But understand there's a power much higher than us all. Mm. And controls everything on the earth, on the planet. Just how he said be and it is, he can say be and it ain't. I'm just saying, it's just what's coming to me. So with this, love my rosebuds and thank y'all for listening to our rose because I had to rise up through this stuff right here. But I might be probably putting together just to show y'all some of the stuff, show y'all some receipts, as they say, of some of the stuff that I'm going through. I ain't just saying this, I ain't running my mouth for nothing, because God knows I ain't want to have to be up in the public, talking about this type of stuff. But I always knew it was coming, but I ain't know it was going to be no stuff like this. I mean, God. You mean to tell me we done came to the point that the law ain't even gonna be the law no more? The law ain't gonna stand strong to his job no more? The justice? What we got it for then? I mean, come on now.